anxious and avoidant couples and the danger of their phones. In today's world, where relationships unfold through glowing screens and instant notifications, few dynamics are more emotionally explosive than an anxious partner and an avoidant partner trying to love each other through their phones. What used to be a simple device for communication has now turned into a silent judge, a battlefield, and a mirror reflecting the deepest insecurities of two people who want connection, but in completely different ways. The anxious partner sees the phone as a lifeline, a reassurance machine, a way to feel close. The avoidant partner sees it as a threat, a demand, a symbol of expectations they're not sure they can fulfill. And every text, every delay, every scene without reply becomes a psychological event that neither of them completely understands. An anxiously attached partner doesn't just send a message, they send a piece of their heart each time. When they text, "Are you okay?" or "How's your day?" It's rarely about the words. It's their way of saying, "I want to feel connected to you. I want to know we're okay." But the phone for them becomes a constant invitation to worry. If there's no reply, they don't assume the partner is busy. They assume something is wrong. They replay the last conversation, wondering if they said something strange. They stare at the screen, imagining all the worst-case scenarios their nervous system is wired to create. Their anxiety fills the silence with stories, and the phone becomes a ticking time bomb of fear. Meanwhile, the avoidantly attached partner feels something completely different when a text arrives. To them, a message can feel like pressure, interruption, or obligation. It's not that they don't care, it's that they value their space so deeply that a simple, "Hey, what are you doing?" might feel intrusive when they're already overwhelmed internally. They want to love freely without being watched or monitored, but the modern digital world makes that nearly impossible. Their phone becomes a symbol of being needed too much, and instead of responding naturally, they delay. They mute notifications, or they avoid opening the conversation entirely, hoping to preserve a little emotional breathing room. This is where the vicious cycle begins. The anxious partner feels the lack of response and starts to panic. They send another message, trying to close the emotional gap. The avoidant partner sees the follow-up text and feels even more pressure, so they pull away further. The anxious partner senses the distance growing and tries harder to reach out. The avoidant partner, overwhelmed, retreats even more. And the phone, this small device meant to connect us, accidentally becomes the wedge driving them apart. What makes this dynamic so painful is that neither partner is wrong. They're simply reacting from old emotional wiring. The anxious partner learned, often from childhood or past abandonment, that closeness equals safety. Silence equals danger. They monitor responses not because they're controlling, but because a slow reply can feel like emotional starvation. Their nervous system reads it as, "I'm losing them," even if the relationship is strong. Meanwhile, the avoidant partner learned that closeness can feel suffocating. Demands from others can feel overwhelming. They associate freedom with safety and pressure with danger. So when messages come in quickly, they aren't thinking, "My partner loves me." They're thinking, "I can't make a mistake. I can't disappoint them. I can't breathe." Their instinct is not to communicate more, but to escape. When these two instincts meet, the phone becomes a psychological battleground. A single good morning message can set the tone for an entire day. A delayed reply can create hours of emotional chaos. A dry text can feel like rejection. An enthusiastic message can feel like pressure. Everything becomes amplified. Everything becomes heavy. Everything feels like evidence of something deeper, something right, or something terribly wrong. And because texting lacks tone, warmth, eye contact, and reassurance, both people end up projecting their fears onto a set of typed words that might not mean anything dramatic at all. The heartbreaking truth is that both partners care deeply. They're just drowning in opposite fears. The anxious partner is afraid of being forgotten. The avoidant partner is afraid of being consumed. One fears distance, the other fears closeness. And the phone sits right at the center, magnifying every fear, every insecurity, every wound. But the greatest tragedy is how easy it is for both partners to misinterpret each other. The anxious partner doesn't realize the avoidant partner isn't pulling away because they stopped caring. They're pulling away because they care too much and fear they'll disappoint. The avoidant partner doesn't realize the anxious partner isn't messaging out of neediness. They're messaging out of vulnerability and sincere affection. They think differently. They love differently. And unless they understand these differences, both will continue to fight battles that neither intentionally started. To build peace between an anxious and avoidant partner in a digital age, both need compassion for themselves and for each other. The anxious partner must learn that silence is not always a threat. A slow reply doesn't mean the relationship is falling apart, and their worth cannot be measured by the speed of a text message. They can practice grounding themselves before sending follow-up messages, reminding themselves that love isn't lived on a screen, and that patience is not powerlessness, it's emotional strength. The avoidant partner must learn that reassurance is not suffocation. A simple reply does not imprison them. It can actually create more freedom in the relationship by reducing conflict and fear. They can practice responding before the anxiety builds, or at least communicating boundaries like, "I love you, but I'm offline for a while." These small steps prevent misunderstandings from taking root and growing into resentment. When both partners understand their emotional languages, the phone stops being a weapon and becomes a tool again. Texting becomes lighter, calmer, kinder. Messages become expressions of love, not tests of loyalty. And the couple begins to feel like they're no longer fighting each other, but fighting the misunderstandings that technology creates. And as we wrap up today's video, let this be the reminder you carry with you. The problem was never the phone itself. It was the emotions, the wounds, the unspoken fears that the phone simply brought to the surface. In anxious avoidant relationships, texting doesn't just connect two people, it exposes the gaps between them. But those gaps don't have to break you. They can become the doorway to deeper understanding, clearer communication, and a calmer kind of love. If you're the anxious one, be gentle with yourself. Your need for reassurance doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And if you're the avoidant one, your need for space doesn't make you unloving, it simply means you protect your emotions differently. Real connection isn't about changing who you are, it's about learning how to understand each other better. So the next time those three blinking dots appear, the next time a message takes a little longer, the next time silence feels like a threat or pressure feels like a burden, pause, breathe. Remember what's really happening beneath the surface. You're two people doing the best you can with the patterns you inherited and the pain you've survived. And awareness, honest, compassionate awareness, is the first step toward healing all of it. If this video helped you understand your relationship, make sure to subscribe, drop a like, and share your story in the comments. And if you want more deep psychological videos like this, stay tuned. There's so much more coming. Until next time, take care of your heart, take care of your mind, and remember, love is challenging, but you don't have to navigate it alone.